crazy.
Radioactive Boy Scout, it's an amazing story.
Check that out, but now check out the next storyteller coming to the stage. Give it up for Heather, everybody! How you doing, darling? Should that be necessary?
Oh boy. Let's see.
Okay. Number 6. All right, Heather. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Is there anything you want to plug or mention before you get started? Twitter handle? Oh, good.
Oh, yeah. HK McCarthy. I just released another Funny or Die video, so it's called Lily's Bush. And so check that out, and you can just put Heather Keller into Funny or Die, and it'll pop up. And then I'm supposed to be performing December 19th at the Clubhouse with my sketch group, I Hate Mail, so 8 p.m.
All right, so check those out, but check out Heather, everybody!
Okay, so I am terrified of worms. Like, all kinds of worms. The worst worm, well, is an earthworm, but actually worse than that, to me, is the maggot. Even the way it's spelled, with the G, it's like curls under, like a worm would curl. And so the first time I ever had experienced, or my first memory of dealing with worms was on a fishing trip where in Long Island, off the pier of Jones Beach, and we were with, I was about 5, and my 2 little brothers and our whole family, my mom and dad, and our friends, Bob and Marie, and they were like heavy chain smokers. So we had a big can of worms on the ground, and Bob turns to me and he has his cigarette, and he's like, "Pick up the worm, Heather, and put it on the hook." And then he tosses his cigarette into the ocean. And I have my little 5-year-old hand, and I kind of look down, and they're like squirming, within the tin can. And to me, worms, they move like that, and that just grosses me out. And then I imagine they have these beady little eyes. They do have eyes, but to me, I just can see these little beady eyes in the ends. And so they're in this tin can. And so I don't want to. I'm the older sister. I have to be strong and cool. And then Jean Marie, Bob and Marie's daughter, was there, and she's about 5 years older than me, so I didn't want to look uncool to her. So I reached I grabbed the can, I kind of reached in, and I pull out the worm, and it's not slimy, which was good. And so it's kind of on my fingers, and it's just wiggling, like this. And it's just, they're so repulsive to me. And Bob then says, "Heather, break it in half." And I was like, "What? I can't. There's no way that I can break this worm in half." The poor worm, first of all, but then I'm just so, I get chills in my body, and I'm just panicked. I don't want to break this worm in half. So Bob does it for me. He breaks it in half, puts it on the hook, and we go fishing. So I kind of felt like I'm kind of a strong person, so I felt like I didn't do it, and I didn't look super cool to Jean, and I kind of let my brothers down. And so I'm the kind of person that if I can't do something, I have to then do it to try to build my strength up, kind of. So for years, if there was a worm on the ground, I would try to pick it up and just kind of overcome this awful fear that I have. But it's never really gone away, specifically with maggots. So I was, years later, in my house, married, cleaning out my lunchbox, and I had taken my lunch to work, and I'd eaten my lunch, and it was like a cooler kind of thing that you can fold inside out, and I'm a bit of a germaphobe, so I went and started washing, washing up my lunchbox. I'm going into the little crevices, and there, in one of the crevices, is a maggot. And I am so disgusted, and I don't scream like a girl. I have this guttural scream, and I kind of go and then I go like this, I'm kind of and I start pacing back and forth, and I'm shouting for my husband, "Brian, Brian, Brian!" He comes running in, he knows my fear of worms. So he takes the lunchbox and throws it out. So I just couldn't deal with it, So then, just a few months ago, Brian's on a trip, he's on a work trip, he's not home. And I opened the kitchen cabinet, and out comes a pantry moth. I don't know if you know what pantry moths are, but they start out as maggots, and they are everywhere. And I am disgusted. No one's there to help me. I actually have Terminex on my cell phone. So I dialed Terminex, and I'm like, oh, there's some maggots here. And I'm like, yep, you got some pantry moths. And so you gotta clean it all out, throw it all away, everything. Food, like a blender, because they can crawl in, and then they nest in there, and then they release more pantry moths. So I'm really disgusted at this point, and there's no one there to help me. It's after hours, they're not coming over. So I was like, okay, I have to really get over this fear. I kind of take a deep breath and I kind of push aside that like horrible feeling in my head, and like the chill, I get like chills, and I just grab some paper towels, and I start wiping down the cabinet, throwing out worms after worms, and I'm reaching in and I'm grabbing bags of flour that are literally moving in my hands, throwing them out, threw out a blender that I got for my wedding, so that was very upsetting. And then I had to throw out a blender, a mixer, because they were in the mixer, and I was like, I don't want to wash this mixer, so I threw that out. And I was kind of like, oh, look at this, I'm doing this. I'm actually overcoming this horrible fear of these maggots. So, 7 bags later of maggots, I have conquered this fear. I probably, if it's laying there on the ground, a maggot, I won't touch it or pick it up like an earthworm, but if I needed to, I could scoop it up with maybe a paper towel of some sort.
Hello, everybody, give it up for